Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Halloween special of Film Banter. Pinhead, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
Good to hardly be able to see you.
It's okay. You can just listen, because this is gold. We want to make sure, folks, that you tune in to the entire show. The back half of the show this evening, we're going to be highlighting horror franchises. Many good ones, many bad ones, and all the rest in between. So make sure you watch the entire show for a wonderful discussion on all things horror.
I say don't bother. If
Don't
you have
discourage
better
them.
things to do them.
Don't discourage, encourage. There's a difference there.
Perhaps
maybe you missed that.
Reruns of Law and Order you've missed.
Well, that's true. You know, Law and Order is a very good show. You can learn some things from that show. But I do recommend you watch this instead. Take a break. Regardless, make sure you watch the show. Get ready for Chris and Daryl's discussion of the new Halloween film and other new releases. Then we will be here for the wonderful horror discussion. Assuming you're going to stay for that.
Yes, join us, you
Please join us.
imbeciles.
We'll see you later.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages,
We're here.
we'd like to welcome you to another exciting, dreary, miserable episode.
Number 96.
Number 96, that's
96, guys.
Here we are, people of Earth. We've made it to 96. Whether we make it to 97 is up to you.
Yes, that's
That's right, because
Keep
you
up-
don't
keep up
give
with
a
us,
damn
guys.
about us, you people. You don't
Let's
care
make it to 100,
whether we
all right?
die or live. So we'll make it sometime.
I'd like to do a welcome back to the microphone.
Welcome back.
It's been a long time.
Welcome back, Carter. Welcome back. Mr. Barbarino. No, he was Mr. Barbarino.
Barbarino was Travolta's character.
Revolta's character.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to begin the show now.
We have a
I'm
good
going
show
to
tonight.
put this down and, okay, do we have the siren? Okay, there we go.
I could have done with that.
Poor Lulu is now running away.
I know, your dogs are terrified.
Anyway,
But yeah, tonight we're going to
all
be
right, so-
covering some good films.
we are indeed.
We have some Halloween stuff going
really
on
some great
tonight.
stuff, so.
Obviously, the new Halloween.
Of course, I am Daryl Smith. This is my friend, Mr. Chris Picard.
Yes,
Chris,
that's
it's
me.
good to see you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. What's
Ready?
this?
Oh, you're supposed to telegraph with me.
Yeah, very good.
I like that. You know what? I've had
That's
this
so
thing?
funny, dude.
I've had this for years.
Oh, I believe it.
25 years at least.
I bet people have laughed at that so many times they can't laugh anymore.
Not really.
Oh, it's so funny.
Some kids liked it.
And some kids do.
Well, anyway, back to the show. We
Well,
welcome
let's
you guys.
give that man a hand.
Bum.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have your thing ready.
I don't have it
Your
ready.
sound device.
It's over there somewhere.
That's
but
all right,
I'm
we'll
not
do
going
that.
to use it this evening.
But
So we're going to begin our
we're
show.
gonna begin
we have,
with,
a delicate show for you.
we have a nice show tonight. We're going to begin with Halloween, the newest installment in the franchise
There we
that's
go.
been beaten.
Face your fate.
Yes.
That's what we all need to do.
The franchise has been beaten to dead more than a dead horse could ever be beaten.
Let's talk about this for just a
Yeah.
brief moment. Today
But,
is a. I'm going to benchmark. Not benchmark. I'm going to benchmark. I'm going to benchmark tonight's show.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday was a horrific day, and was it yesterday or the day before? I guess it was the day before.
Are you talking
I'm
about,
talking
happening
about
in
the
news?
11 folks in Pittsburgh.
That was
who
on
were-
Saturday.
Was that Saturday?
Yeah.
And today's Tuesday.
Today's now they're doing some of the burials. Yeah.
Correct. Mr. Trump and
Another
his wife
terrible
did go to
installment in
the.
America shootings.
You know, one thing I will say, Ivanka Trump was wearing. Her husband, of course, is Jewish. Jared
Kushner, he's
Jared
Orthodox.
Kushner.
Yeah.
He is an Orthodox Jew.
And she converted.
She converted. She's an American Jew now.
She is.
And he was wearing his yarmulke today. Well, Ivanka was wearing a fashion yarmulke.
Come on.
No, she was. And
Is that allowed?
Well, it was. I mean, I have to say, it looked pretty good.
Watch your coffee. It's going to spill.
It's not going to spill.
It almost did.
It did.
It was
I
like
know.
this.
Don't tell me
It
it's going to
was.
spill, dude.
Yeah.
This coffee's fine, man.
You know what? It's funny. You don't see a lot of women wearing yarmulkes. It's kind of rare, I feel like.
Well, no, they don't,
I don't
because
see it a
their
lot.
hair does not. usually give in
I
to
know,
the
yeah.
yarmulke, the apropos-ness of the yarmulke placement upon
Yeah.
my head. But she was in fact wearing a very fashionable yarmulke,
Interesting.
and it was nice. It was a yarmulke, it had like a little ribbony thing.
Did it?
A black ribbony thing going across it, and it was almost like tilted,
I'll have
almost,
to, look it
almost
up.
in a beret kind of fashion.
Really?
Yeah, it was almost like a little mini French beret.
Interesting.
So that was kind of,
Well,
I thought that was most entertaining.
I guess it's her prerogative. She can do that if she
Ivanka,
wants.
Yeah. There is a particular video circulating on the internet now with Donald grabbing her. You see him literally, it looks like he's grabbing her breast.
He's groping her.
He's groping her, yeah. It looks
Well, didn't what's her name,
very-
Omarosa, claim that she saw him do that all the time?
Well, she was always sitting on his lap, and,
Just creepy.
there was a lot of,
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, let's not waste any more time talking about that. We are going to talk about Halloween. It was the big film that I guess
I
there
like
were...
the light of hope, for Hilo means hope.
Exactly.
I like the light of hope, for Hilo means hope.
no, that was this.
I don't know what that's from.
That was actually the motto of the Campfire Girls.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Thanks
And
for that.
yeah,
One person got that. I think.
yeah, one person did, and it was. And if you're out there, please go to hell. Go to hell. We
Yeah, there you go.
don't need your goddamn opinions.
But as we were
About our
saying,
show.
this is the latest Halloween film.
This is the latest. We're gonna begin
I
our
guess you can
horror
say
show
a return
today.
to form, if there ever was a form for these films. But I will say this right at the top. For a film that's, what, the 10th installment, I believe, in the series?
By the way, I want to interrupt Mr. Picard over
You've
here.
been doing it all night. Why not?
Mr.
Continue.
Nose Picker Hard.
Yes.
I want to interrupt him and just let you all know that in fact we are doing a horror segment where we will be in a
Oh, we are doing
in
that,
a
yes.
costume. So
Yes.
if you're
Stay
thinking,
tuned for that.
Most of you have probably already turned off your your video
Your
on
device.
on your YouTube. You've already said, "Oh, the hell with these guys." I'm going to go over to those Italian jerks on Movie Banter.
Movie Banter.
Yeah, those miserable rectal thermometers.
The only reason they have any audience is because they're associated with this big parody website
I know.
that parodies Lord of the Rings and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's very upsetting.
Whatever. Whatever. We can't be worried about Italians.
And
right
as
now.
for those Foo Fighters, listen, those guys are out there fighting Foo. What are you doing in your life? They're out fighting Foo. Mm-hmm. Those Foo Fighters. Okay, enough of this.
Yes.
Let's get back to Halloween. We
Yes.
are doing a whole horror segment where we're going to be discussing genres.
We're going to be discussing the horror genre, best and worst, and maybe even most influential films.
We're
in
also
horror.
going to be going, very interestingly enough, we're going into horror franchises.
Franchises, yes.
And you'd be shocked. You have the whole list here?
I have a good
I'm
amount.
going to read the whole list. I will read it in speed freak fashion.
Okay.
at a
Well, I
later
only
time.
included about 16 of them. We whittled it down from like 30.
Well, I have it on my phone.
Yeah.
Because you sent me the whole list.
I know, but I said we had to whittle that down. We can't cover all those.
No, I realize that, but I would just like to read that to the people.
Oh, franchises
I
in
just
general.
want to read all of them.
I can read it to you right here if you'd like.
Well, no, we're going to do our show first, and then when we're in costume later on.
Oh, then later you want to read that list.
I do.
Okay,
I
that's
do.
fine.
When we're discussing the franchises.
Yeah,
Because
okay, I
We're
see
not
what
actually
you're saying.
discussing genre, so to speak. We're only discussing one genre, and that's
Horror.
horror.
But franchises
However,
within horror.
You'd be shocked. I mean, of course, we have the Chucky franchise. We have Friday the 13th. We have Jason.
Yeah. We'll mention them later.
Jason and he's
Friday
Friday,
the
the
13th.
13th. Then we have Freddy Krueger and
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm, and then
We
we
have Paranormal Activity.
the biggie.
We have Hellraiser.
There's three biggies.
We have Texas Chainsaw.
Halloween is probably the
obviously.
biggie. Yeah, Halloween.
We have Alien. I mean, all the big ones.
Yeah. Well, Alien, we're crossing into the sci-fi genre
Yeah.
horror.
But that
whatever.
first one was pretty
But
horror.
that's okay.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, it was
great
pretty
horror
horrifying. When
film.
that
I love
creature
it.
first came out, people had nightmares.
I know.
In 1979.
I love that film.
Oh, it's great.
It's a fantastic.
But let's continue before we digress further.
Till we banter on about other things.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I gotta say this.
You saw this film.
I did, and I haven't been the
tell us
biggest
what the
fan.
plot is. Tell us
Okay,
what
well,
the plot is.
this what's interesting about this Halloween movie is, assuming you've seen the original, which is basically about a killer in this crazy, horrifying mask that goes around on Halloween night, killing a bunch of people. The survivor from the original film was Jamie Lee Curtis. So this film ignores all the other sequels.
Well, not
and
quite. It does go for Halloween 2, which was the original sequel, where Jamie goes to the hospital, and Michael shows up at the hospital.
Yeah, but I thought they ignored that too.
It's
I thought
almost like they did, but that was the last real film. And then Jamie Lee did another one in 93 or
she
whatever.
did H2O in 1998.
Was that 98? Yeah, that's correct.
But most of these movies have been awful.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought this was, considering we've seen 9 other movies like this wasn't bad. It was a pretty decent, I thought, reboot, you could say, follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
This was done, interestingly enough, by David Gordon Green, who's done a lot of comedy. He did Pineapple Express.
Okay.
And this was co-written by Danny McBride, who's a big comedy guy. But
I was shocked about
yeah,
that.
me too. But
you don't like Danny McBride.
I don't love him. I think he's a talented guy.
I him.
Just
I think
don't
he's a
love
funny
the
guy.
characters that he plays
No.
because he plays them well. You know, he plays them well, does a good job. But I just feel like he
So
plays
he
a lot
always
of...
plays an asshole.
Yeah, always. And I'm just like, stop being an asshole. But he's good at it.
I
I think he's a talented guy.
Okay.
But anyway, nevertheless, it's a decent film.
This is a formula film all the way.
Total formula.
It's absolute 100%.
Very
They
much
did not
is.
diverse whatsoever from the first film. In fact,
not really.
They actually.
It's just more bloody.
you know,
graphic at times.
I don't even think it's all that much bloodier, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, there's a scene where somebody gets their head stomped in and it gets obliterated.
Oh, that's true.
Like
Yeah,
a melon.
Yeah, that's true.
The
Yeah.
original didn't have that much violence.
Well, that is correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
John Carpenter obviously created the series.
I would like to talk about this just for a brief moment. Literally, I'm going to say a week before this film, the original film came out on a 4K disc. I went and purchased it,
Yes.
and I watched it.
Yes.
I watched the whole film from beginning to end. It's an hour and 36 minutes, whatever the hell
Yeah.
it is. I sat and watched it. I really enjoyed it, and it's a stunningly beautiful print. It's
Cool.
gorgeous, gorgeous. And so when I did see this, there are so many references,
Yeah,
and
little
actual
homages
jokes,
and stuff, yeah.
little jokes that they did and that kind of play off of the original film in this film. But okay, go ahead. So, did you like the
Yeah,
film?
you know what? I liked it. I didn't love it. Considering I went in with very low expectations.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It wasn't great. There was some stupid stuff that I'm just like, all right, we gotta leave that at the door and just enjoy it for what it was.
Yeah.
I liked what I liked the best about it. I enjoyed that Jamie Lee Curtis was back. I like that she's now a badass. Obviously, reminded me of Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2, where she's ready. She's prepping for this all these years.
I thought she was an irritating. I thought
Her
she
character was irritating.
I thought she was
I think almost by
irritating-
design.
Well, obviously
drove everybody
so.
away from her.
Yeah, yeah.
She's become a hermit, recluse.
I thought she was a bit of an irritating old hag, to be quite
And she kind of
honest.
was, yeah. But I think
She
that was part of the character.
I would have liked it if they made her more nuts. I think they should have pushed it to the end limit and made her just this psycho woman. I think that would have made the film a little better. For me, this film is a bit of a throwaway, I have to say.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to make any difference a year from now. Plus, the ending of this film, we don't see a corpse.
I know. They deliberately leave it open.
And that
It
so
sucks.
pissed me
I
off.
hate that. I know.
Because Jamie Lee, and every time she comes
know.
back to the franchise, she says, "I'll be in the film if I can
can
kill
kill
him."
him. I know.
Right. So in 1998, H2O,
Yeah.
she said, "I'll do it," and she shoots him.
I'll be honest.
and he disappears.
I don't even remember what happens in that movie.
Yeah, she shoots him
Yeah.
at the end, and she really shoots him
Yeah.
dead. But
I feel like he dies
it
in every
doesn't
movie.
even matter.
I know. It's
No. Jason of Friday the 13th, he dies. This guy always disappears. This guy just disappears at the end. But I mean,
I don't even remember.
I know it's very difficult.
I'm not. You
to-
know what it is? I'm
It's
just.
hard to keep track.
There's just so many of them. How do you,
I know.
And
The
I haven't
Rob-
even seen all of them.
Oh, of course not. Did you see the Rob Zombie one?
Yes, I saw that one.
That one
I
was-
did. That was pretty decent.
You know, it was
I didn't
a
see
brutal.
two.
It was
The
a
very
brutal
violent.
film.
Yeah, very violent.
Brutal
There was a great throat cut in that first
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
But you know what? This has never been my favorite franchise
Yeah.
at all. I remember I'd heard so much about Halloween.
Yeah.
And so I finally watched it for the first time. I believe I was a sophomore in high school. And I watched it with my ex-brother-in-law at the time, who hadn't seen it either. And we were both like, that's it? All this hype? That's
Yeah.
it? You know?
Well,
I
the
expected
theme song
more.
was good.
But I was going to, the next thing I was going to say, if there's anything I love, is John Carpenter's music.
You know,
love
I
his-
like the way he
his score.
updated.
He did.
I like the way they updated the
He
music.
was
in this.
involved.
And they added a synthesizer
Yeah.
whoosh through that.
It was cool. Music was great.
I thought it was
And this is
pretty
the first time he's been back in a while for these movies.
Oh,
As
really?
executive producer and
cool. Oh,
music.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But overall, I would say you can watch this movie in the theater, fine.
No, it's not
You can wait
necessary.
for it to see it at home, just as fine.
You know something?
You don't have to run out.
The real key to the film is Jamie Lee.
Yeah.
You know, we do see that Michael Myers has now, when he's discovered at the beginning of the film, he's been in an asylum now for
Yeah.
the last 40 years or whatever. And we do see that he's an old man.
He's an older guy now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's an older
beard.
guy. He's got little gray
We still never
hairs.
see his full face.
No, we never do. But we do have that gray hair trickling out the back there. And It always irritates me. You know, he gets shot in the neck. He
I
gets.
know.
I mean, you know, the guy goes through 15 different deaths
I
or
know.
decapitating things. He is just a human being.
Yeah.
You know, he's like Batman, I suppose. You know, who takes. You know, Batman
course,
falls
yeah.
off buildings and survives. So.
Now, here's the question, not to interrupt you, but if I remember correctly, in the original film, what was he? He was a young kid when he started killing people, correct?
Right.
Well, because the backstory was he escapes a mental hospital in the original one because he'd killed people when he was a young boy, and then he gets out of a mental hospital.
No, the first person he kills is his sister.
Yeah, but that was when he was a young boy.
Yes.
And then he's in an insane asylum, and then he breaks out, and that's when the Halloween, the original, takes place. He's hunting all these people, killing Jamie Lee Curtis. Because we learned that he
Correct.
killed his sister as a young
That
boy.
is correct.
Okay, well, here's my question with this film then. He's driving a car in this movie. When the hell did he learn to drive a car? He was only out of prison in the original film for a very brief period, one night. He was in jail from the time he was a little kid.
Yeah.
When did he have time to get his driver's license?
Well, he
to
didn't
learn
get
to
his
drive.
driver's license.
Well, when did he learn to drive?
Maybe he saw movies with people
You
driving.
know, that's
cars.
what that's what Steve said. He goes, he learned it on YouTube. You know what?
There you go.
Come on, he didn't learn it on YouTube. You can't really. I guess you
He
can
doesn't
learn.
drive very much in the film.
No, but he drives well. He drives that car from the gas station. You know,
You
it's
think
like
he drives well? But then again, that's coming from you.
Why
Who
is-
has huge scrapes on the side of his car.
that's only because I misjudged the distance coming out of a garage. I scraped the side. My father did the same thing.
You've had more
My wife
accidents
has done
than
the same
anyone.
thing.
I've never had an accident in my life.
And none of the accidents I've had were my fault. None of them were my fault. Deer ran in front of me 2 times. I got sideswiped by a bus and a box truck. Not my fault. I wasn't even moving. I was trying to merge onto the highway. Not my fault.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah,
now.
well, we can have a whole episode about
So
you.
we have Halloween here.
Lauding your wonderful driving skills
I am
as a
an
limo
incredible
driver,
driver.
which you've told me about 1,000 times.
I'm an incredible driver. There's
I
no
know
question
you are.
about it. And I drive quick. I'm aggressive, and yet I'm defensive at the same time.
Oh yeah. Well,
Which
one
is
day
of
you're
those
gonna have an
rare things.
accident.
You are simply aggressive. You're not defensive.
No, I'm not
You-
actually
you
both.
will pay for that.
How do you know? I'm not. What are you talking
Because
about?
I've seen you drive, and you're a tailgater. You get right on top of the guy in front of you. Come on, move, asshole!
I don't always tailgate.
Well, you used to tailgate.
I don't
pretty badly.
tailgate on purpose though. I can't be bothered with slow drivers.
Your car karma, if you would,
Yes.
is not good. That's why things happen to you.
Oh, is that true?
It is true.
Okay.
That is.
Well, my car
exactly-
karma maybe is not good.
All right, let's move on to the
Whenever
next.
people have bad karma. in other
Okay,
ways.
well, wait, we haven't really gone into the review aspect.
We
of
just
it.
did. We both.
Okay.
You said it was a throwaway film.
I thought it was
said
a throwaway, but
okay.
do I recommend it? I kind of do. I was about to get into
I
this
kinda
just
recommend
for a bit.
it.
I mean, I know we're beleaguering the point here, but I do recommend it just for Jamie Lee. You're returning to the original. There's a couple things I did like about the movie where, for example, in the first film, Michael Myers goes over the balcony, right? So then Donald Pleasance comes out, and near the end of the film, he looks over, Michael Myers is gone. That was the end of the film.
And then we see that.
And this
I
time
know.
we see Jamie Lee Curtis go over the balcony. And then when the cop and the psychiatrist come to the bottom, she's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like she's kind of turned the tables a little bit. Now she's the hunter.
Yeah.
So that I kind of liked. I liked that they took a little bit of liberties, but only if you had just recently seen the original film would you recall these little
Yeah.
tidbits
I
of
mildly remember
trivial
that, mildly.
horseshit that kind of bring
For
us
the
back.
diehard fans, that was a big thing. you
I
know?
suppose, but you know how many diehard fans are there of this franchise? I guess there's probably
Honestly,
a few.
there are some people that live
There
and
are.
breathe horror movies. That's all they like.
Well, Donald Trump has a following, so God only knows what cults are out there
Exactly.
doing horrifying things in the name
if
of...
there's an asshole out there, there's somebody that loves them. you
Yeah,
know?
really. Ain't that the truth?
It's true. But overall,
Is that
I don't
on the
know.
picture you have for Halloween?
I just got the posters. I didn't have time for anything else but posters. I
You
had
didn't
no
have time. What are you doing?
Busy working, making a living, and doing other
I
things.
see.
I had no time.
How dare you?
This week I had no time.
Okay.
So. Plus, it didn't help the fact that we didn't iron out our list of stuff
That's a
until
song.
like late Monday.
No
All right,
time.
so can we move on?
No time. Yeah,
You
let's
done?
go on.
All right. We recommend you see this movie, but you don't have to run out to see it.
No,
in the
no,
theater.
I
That's the
say
bottom
see
line.
It. Yeah, see it, but it really is the same old horseshit.
It's the same old horseshit.
You
There's
know,
nothing
he
in this
appears
movie.
in the window, nothing
Nothing really new.
and then he's gone, and then he's suddenly over there. Now he's over there. Now he's over there. I mean, these creatures of the night, these mysterious predators, they just are everywhere where someone is alone,
Yeah.
and the camera is on them. They've suddenly appeared to that particular place.
Exactly.
Let's move on.
We're going to move on. Now we are going to do The Spy Who Dumped Me.
All right. a
Fresh
big
on
change.
video.
You know, you should have gone to The Night Comes for Us. I think that would have been a better transition because it is a violent film.
Yeah, but I'm also going
Doesn't
by
matter.
things people have heard of. They've heard of this. Make that the next
All right,
thing.
good idea.
And
is
I'm
correct.
going
We're going into
downwards.
the fame aspect.
Yeah, so this is fresh on
All right,
video.
very good.
Mila Kunis, obviously.
Mila Kunis and Kate McKinnon
And
is
Kate
in
McKinnon
it.
is in this
Justin
film.
Theroux. Who's this here?
That is
Somebody.
Yeah, I forget
Okay.
who her name is. Justin Theroux. Oh, that's the gymnast girl, I believe. It was
Okay,
after that.
Okay, right. Let's talk about this movie. There's a new genre out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's taking comedy and putting it with hardcore violence.
Yes.
We have hardcore violence.
There's violence in this film, yeah.
I mean, we have guns in the face, pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Kind of violence, John Wick violence in this film. I find that to be a misnomer of concepts. I find it.
It doesn't always work.
Doesn't work unless the comedy is really good. For example, The Spy, that movie with Melissa McCarthy.
Spy, yeah, that was great.
I love that.
That's the
film.
best of those.
That is truly the best.
I watched this
There
with-
is some violence there, but the violence is actually.
Yeah.
Paul Feig did
Paul
the film.
Feig did that. He's great. yeah.
Great little. He said just a great.
He did a great
eye.
job with Heat, also with Sandra Bullock
And
Melissa
Melissa
McCarthy
also.
as well.
I agree.
Although that wasn't as bloody as Spy was.
Yeah.
I don't think Spy was that bloody. This is more bloody than that
Yeah,
is.
no, I know
But the
question
comedy
about it.
action mix.
Yeah, this is I can't really recommend this film so much. I mean, I really love Mila Kunis.
I love them both. They're both great.
I love Kate. It's good to see Kate. I think this is really her first starring role. She
Yeah, I would
was in
say
that
that.
Rough Night movie with.
Oh yeah, but this is definitely a more
Scarlett
coming out party
Johansson.
for her. Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of a biggie. I think
Yeah.
that I liked her in this
She
film.
was great in this. Yeah.
I thought she was fine. She got off the best lines.
She had some good scenes.
Absolutely. Mila it just has that incredible face, those eyes,
Yeah.
those eyes, na 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 na, those eyes. What is that song? Da, 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 da. It was like classics for with a spooky little girl.
Yeah, I
like
don't know
you.
that.
You don't know that.
Well, I wasn't even
Before your
born.
time, dude.
I
Yeah,
wasn't
but
even
so is
born.
Beethoven. You've heard of him.
Yeah, but,
Na, na,
but you're
na,
talking about
na.
obscure shit. You're doing obscure
No, I'm
stuff.
talking about these eyes. Na, na,
I don't
na,
know that.
na. These eyes. They played on. They played in elevators all over this
Yeah,
country.
I don't know.
Just go to an elevator.
I'm gonna
You'll
go.
hear it.
Next time I'm in an elevator,
Next
if
time
I hear
you're in an
that,
elevator,
I'll think of you.
You check it out, dude.
But honestly, I might have enjoyed this a little more than you. I thought it was fun.
I did too.
Again, I didn't expect much
No,
from it.
I did. I'm just saying that the genre. I hate to say the word genre. This isn't a genre. This is a mix of genres.
It's a subgenre.
It is a subgenre of a genre,
mashup.
a mashup, if you will.
Yeah.
It is a comic foil, and yet perched
Yeah.
upon a James Bondian thing. James Bond, I think, is almost more tongue in cheek
Kind of.
than this was.
This takes itself
was
fairly
almost a
serious.
serious
Yeah.
aspect, the serious.
There were some good moments.
Mode of.
The
there's a-
premise is very simple. Mila Kunis finds out that her boyfriend, who disappears and breaks up with her, actually is a spy.
Right.
And before his dying breath, which is not a spoiler, he asks her, "You got to accomplish this mission for me." So they go over. It's an international thing. They're in Europe. I forget where they're in Europe. Are they in Amsterdam?
I
where are
believe
they?
they go all over the place.
Yeah, they go in a bunch of
start in
different
Berlin,
places.
perhaps.
Yeah, something like that. They're in Berlin at one
Yeah,
point.
at the beginning. They
And
go
so a
to
lot
that.
of comic
They have to go
action
to a
scenes
bar.
ensue.
Correct.
Yes, yeah, cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
It was actually. It was very violent.
But it was
that
fun.
Was the initial violent scene.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, we had the opening with Justin.
Well, that
Theroux,
too, yeah.
But that was
more just shooting.
That was more just regular James Bond
Exactly.
stuff.
I felt that this movie was a hair long. They could have trimmed a few minutes.
Almost 2 hours long.
I
About
like
an
the
hour
cameo
and-
by Jane
about an hour and
Curtin.
52 minutes. This
Yeah.
film.
There's a good cameo. Jane Curtin and Paul Reiser play her parents.
Correct.
That was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was fun. Jane
Overall,
Curtin's in a new film. She's in the new Melissa McCarthy film.
oh, is she
She's
the one
in
that
that
would?
Can't Buy.
Oh, the one that Can You Ever Forgive Me?
Can You Ever Forgive
Yeah,
Me?
I want to go see that.
Jane
yeah.
Curtin's in that. She
Okay.
plays her publisher.
Oh, great! I want
Yeah.
to see that.
Yeah.
But
like that
overall,
Jane
I
is-
thought this was worth recommending on video.
You know, it is kind of fun.
I wouldn't have gone to see it in the theater, which I didn't. But now that it's out streaming,
I was going to go see it in the theater. I had every intention of seeing it.
yeah. We just didn't get to it.
We just didn't get to it. It was
in the
just,
summer craziness.
had
Too
a
much,
lot of stuff going
too
on, a
many
lot of
things are
movies to
out.
go see. We
Yeah.
just didn't have the time. But I did like the film. I thought it was okay.
It was better than I expected.
It was better than I expected too.
I watched it with Kim, my wife, and she also remarked the essence of spy thrown in there. Like, oh, this wants to be spy a little bit, because that was such a.
Spy was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
That's one of the funniest
It
movies
really
I've ever.
was. It really made an
in my
impact for
life,
a comedy. Yeah,
that was. I
It's
saw
so
that
well
film,
done.
I saw that film twice in the theater.
it's so good.
I loved it.
Really
because
funny.
I laughed so hard through that movie.
Yeah.
I had to go back because I felt there was things I missed.
I think that's definitely Melissa McCarthy's best project so
Absolutely.
far.
Well,
Yeah.
they were going to do a sequel too. I hope they do.
I think they are.
It was in the works, and as long as Paul directs it, I'm
Yeah,
okay.
and I think Statham's probably going to come back.
Yeah, I hope so too.
That's a fun movie. That's
No,
a
that
really
was fun. I
film.
hope Jude Law comes back. I hope the whole
Oh, yeah,
cast
yeah.
comes back. He was
That'd
the
be
James
good.
Bond guy.
And her awkward friend was funny.
Oh yeah.
the tall
No,
woman?
it was great.
Yeah, that was good.
that was good. I like the
I'm
whole
gonna
film.
watch
I
that
really
again.
did.
It's been a while.
It's a great little piece of work.
Again, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about
You know,
Spy
my
with Melissa
favorite-
McCarthy.
I'm going to tell you my favorite scene in that film. I love it. I crack up every single time I see it. It's a scene, she's in Berlin. There's a band on the stage.
Yes.
And they're all dressed in these spooky, not spooky, but they're dressed in these, not creepy, they're like a high-tech robot band, right? So she's trying to tell, Jude Law's in the film, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And Jude Law is running off and he picks up a suitcase that happens to be a bomb.
Yeah.
There's a bomb in it. So she's trying to tell him, like, no. So she runs up onto the stage and she grabs the mic, and all she wants to do is tell, put that down, it's a bomb. But she talks into the mic, and it does one of those share things, like, can you believe?
Oh, yeah,
It's
remember
like
that,
a voice synthesizer.
That was funny.
So you hear Melissa McCarthy go, it's hilarious.
Yeah,
It
it's
just
a great
cracks me-
scene.
It cracks me up every time I see it.
It's great.
Then so many scenes in that.
There's a lot.
When she gets into the hotel, and there's so many.
Yeah. It's
She
just-
inadvertently
it's-
starts killing people. It's great.
It's a classic. It really
it's great.
is.
It's
It's
super
so
violent,
funny.
but it's so
Yeah.
well done because of Melissa and the direction of that film.
Yeah, it's very
spectacular.
well done.
And stay away from any movie that Melissa McCarthy's husband is involved in. Every single one of them
Paul Falcone, something like that.
what? It's not Paul. It's
not Paul?
No, definitely not.
his
But
name? He's in Bridesmaids. He's in her movies too.
Well, he's in her movies too.
Yeah.
But
He's the guy that
I know
she-
he was in Ghostbusters. That's the one Paul Feig film I'm not real fond
I
of.
still haven't seen it.
Well, you got.
I know,
Melissa,
it's
you
got a
got the whole cast of Saturday
I
Night.
just haven't gotten to it.
Leslie Jones is in it.
I love the
and
original
think
so
Tina
much.
Fey is
It's
in
hard.
it. Yeah,
Everybody's in it.
It's not a bad film.
Yeah, I'll check it out one day. I'm not
it's a-
anti-seeing it.
It's
just
a
not
chick
ready.
flick. It's a chick flick, and it's.
Well, that doesn't bother me.
No, it didn't bother me
I'm
either.
just not ready to see another a reboot of one of my favorite
I hate
movies.
to admit this, but I got it real cheap at somewhere,
Yeah.
and I have the 3D version.
I'm sure you do.
Which is kind of cool. Because they're shooting slime
I guess
out.
that looks cool.
It's kind of fun. The ending is actually great.
Yeah?
Great
All right.
special effects where they're shooting the marshmallow.
I heard
the
that,
Pillsbury
yeah.
Doughboy. That's kind of fun.
All right.
It is kind of a kick. All right, Spy
So
Who Dumped
overall,
Me.
it's entertaining.
It is
It's
entertaining. It's just.
It's not going to change your life, but you could see worse.
This isn't for your grandma, though. This isn't for. It's just a little too violent, I think. I think they pushed it a little bit too much to the limit here. I wouldn't have gone this violent. I would have kept it almost at a PG and more laughs.
Yeah, there are some brutal deaths.
More laughs and more. I just read today half the films that have come out now are rated R.
57%
I'm
in
shocked.
the past 50 years.
I'm shocked.
That was interesting.
I thought that was kind of a.
Yeah, given that they
did
ever
not
since the
expect that.
80s they love doing the PG-13 because it gets more audiences in there.
I know exactly. I'm
Yeah.
very shocked that the R-rated
I'm
films
pretty surprised
are.
too. But I like to see
Too.
that because
Yeah.
I like adult-oriented films. I don't want to just watch watered-down crap.
And
You
yet,
know?
I do recall I just saw Black K Klansman recently, the new Spike
Yeah,
Lee
we've
film.
discussed that.
We did discuss it, and I was disgusted a little
I
bit
know
by
you
that
were.
film. I didn't love the film, but that's regardless. I sat next to and there was a lot of the N-word.
Oh, that's right. You're saying young kids.
I sat next to a mother who had 2 young children there. And, at the very beginning of the film, they're showing black people being lynched. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it's really a brutal, a just journey of the black man through this earth. And some of the horrors and genocidal tendencies that have been aimed at that black person, black history. So I thought it was horrifying that these little kids are sitting there. And I saw this little girl, cutest little girl ever, little kind of a fro, and sitting there kind of like this, and she's watching the screen, and oh my God.
All right, we got to move on.
This show should be 3 hours long because we digress way too much.
Too much. We're
Let's
never
move
going to get
on.
to everything
Spy Who Dumped
tonight.
Me. Nah, it is what it is. It's violent. It's kind of comical. You're getting Kate McKinnon. You're getting Mila Kunis, and that's a draw.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's
Next.
definitely worth seeing once. We're going to move on to...
Ah,
Ah!
you missed it.
I hit the wrong button.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Jamie
So,
Dornan from the 50 Shades.
and Peter
films.
Dinklage starred My Dinner with
Peter
Hervé.
Dinklage, there he is, ladies
This is
and
an
gentlemen.
HBO film that premiered recently.
Yep.
It's about the famous actor Hervé Villechaize. Yes, if you remember from the show Fantasy Island, the plane, that's what he plays. This was a passion project for many years of Peter Dinklage.
And the man who interviewed
And the
him.
man who wrote the book.
Who
that
wrote
this
the
is-
book that is based
who
on.
he plays.
He didn't
Who Jim-
interview. Well, he didn't interview Hervé. There's a picture of the actual writer with Hervé
At the end of the film, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And apparently he did kill himself literally within
He
the
did,
week
but no,
or so.
this really happened. He really met him and did an interview with him.
No, obviously so.
And then he
I know
wrote
this
a
is a
book
true story.
about the experience.
I don't think it's the same guy though.
Yeah, no,
Was it the same
writer.
guy?
That's the guy.
Oh,
That's who he
okay.
plays.
All right.
Yeah, Jamie Dornan plays the writer
Yeah.
of the initial article that eventually led to this being made into a screenplay.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a book. I think it was a screenplay. He started writing it as a screenplay.
Very
I
possible.
think.
No, I don't think
Because
so.
at the end, it looks like he's writing a screenplay.
You know, it probably was what it started to be, and that was a story. I think he wrote the story.
Well, it's an
Remember, he
article
submits
first.
It,
Yeah.
He had submits
Yeah.
it to his editor.
His editor, yeah.
And she says,
Yeah, well, let's not ruin
forget
what
it.
happens.
Okay, well, that's not important.
But then he
because
writes it into
that's all
a
irrelevant.
bigger thing. Yeah.
He writes it into a bigger thing
Yeah.
that becomes this film.
Yeah, and this is really more than anything. It's a performance film for. I think they're both very good. I
I
thought.
thought they were both excellent.
He was out. I thought that Peter Dinklage was outstanding. I thought
Yeah, he
was
really
very good.
was. He really was.
But they both were very good.
Yeah.
He lived. He was a guy who was living a crazy life.
Yeah.
He took advantage of every perk of being famous. He lived his life to the
Absolutely.
fullest in the short 40-something years. And I don't mean to say short in a negative
short,
way.
yeah.
Yeah. Just he didn't live a long time. Because I learned that I knew that he had some health problems. I didn't realize what it was yes, he was a dwarf, but all his organs were normal sized. So everything was crushed together.
Oh, gosh.
So I remember reading when he killed himself, he was in agony every day. Every morning
Oh, I
he'd be
did not
vomiting
know
up
that.
blood.
Really?
Because everything was being crushed.
Oh, my
he was in
God.
pain.
Yeah, but.
And it got worse with age as he got older, as
Right.
his body aged.
Oh.
So
You would think that the organs would. I mean, I would see that as a young man that would be tough.
Yeah.
Because his organs are vibrant and healthy.
Yeah.
But as you get older, your organs age. I would think that they would be more prone to gravity and that they
Well,
would be more.
yeah, but he still only
giving.
died in his 40s. He didn't get to be like 80.
Well, he killed himself
Yeah.
due to his.
He also was depressed. His life.
He was depressed.
He blew
lost-
his chances
he-
in many
Well, he
ways.
didn't blow his chances. He took a big. He got a big chance.
He did,
was
but
given-
he blew it with
he blew
his
the money because
personality and
no, he blew the money. He was expecting that his career was going to have some longevity to it.
I know.
But this really was the amount of his fame.
Yeah, it was.
Playing Tattoo
Tattoo
on the
with
show
Ricardo
Fantasy
Montalban,
Island
yeah.
with Ricardo.
who I thought was
Montalban.
perfectly cast by Andy Garcia.
Andy Garcia?
I
Oh,
thought
I
he
didn't
looked pretty
think
good.
so.
From certain angles, I thought he looked like him a lot.
You know, I didn't think so. I thought
No.
that his accent wasn't as good. Ricardo had a much thicker accent than
yeah,
Andy
well, it
pushed
was
in.
definitely thicker, but I thought he was a decent resemblance.
I always liked Ricardo Montalban. I thought
too.
he was great in The Wrath of Khan, believe it or not.
Great
He
is that?
was-
That's one of his
yeah,
best
he was
roles.
Wonderful.
He was fun as the villain in
was
Naked
terrific.
Gun, the first one.
And he was the one who first did American Motors had a car called the Matador.
He did,
With
yeah.
the rich Corinthian leather.
Yes.
And he used to talk about that all
He had
the
a great
time.
accent.
He really
Yeah.
did have a great accent. And then he had a son, I believe, who was also
I think so
an
too.
actor.
He had a long.
too.
He was married to his wife for many, many years.
Yeah,
bunch
yeah,
of
yeah.
kids.
No. He was, you
Yeah.
know, absolutely. There was anyway, regardless, this is a film about. I thought Jamie
enjoyed
Dornan
this
was
film.
good.
Yeah.
I really did. You know, this is a small film.
It is.
It's not a.
Definitely an HBO movie.
Not a film to be seen in a theater.
No.
Although I would think that would be an experience I wouldn't mind having.
Yeah. I probably would have seen it anyway. If it was
I
in
would
the
have
theater.
seen it in a theater.
But it's
I really
definitely
would've.
perfect for an HBO film.
It is indeed. The film, of course, hinges on the performance of Peter Dinklage.
He's excellent.
He had the voice down. As far as I could tell.
I thought he was pretty good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love Peter Dinklage. I love
Me
him
too.
as a man.
I agree.
love him as a person. I love him on Game of Thrones, of course.
Yes.
But you know, he has such heart, and he
He
has.
does.
You know, I've seen him on several different. You know, either for he's on Stephen Colbert quite a bit. For Game of Thrones, he just did a recent gig on the show for this, for My Dinner with Hervé.
Yes, yes.
And you know, there's such a sadness that comes out from his soul every time I see him. He walked out on that stage. Well, the whole audience went crazy
They love him.
because there's
Everybody loves
there's
him.
Mr. Lannister
Exactly,
sitting out on the
yeah.
stage there. And you know, Game of Thrones is precedes everything. He's so wonderful on that
He's
show.
great.
His
The role of a
heart and
lifetime.
soul. He lives very close. My,
Upstate
my
New York.
former brother and sister-in-law, who I, thank God, I do not speak too much anymore. Until they text me and ruin my life for a day or two or three. But anyway, they would run into him quite a bit. He has a beautiful wife,
Yeah.
and of course she towers over him.
Yeah, yeah.
And they have a normal.
She's a theater director as well.
Correct, and they have a child who was totally, you know, not,
Yeah, because just because one of your parents or both
Correct.
your parents are a dwarf, it doesn't mean your kids are going to be.
no,
It's not one of those
it
things.
Depends on the previous
Yeah.
mother, father. DNA will often skip a generation, but regardless, I love this film. I really
I enjoyed
liked
it quite
lot.
a bit, too.
No, I loved the ending of the film. It all came together.
Yeah.
The first half hour, I wasn't too thrilled about it. I felt the smallness of it. I felt the cheap production element of it that kind of begat the film, so to speak. And I felt myself, okay, I'm going to watch this. But at that point, within the first 15, 20 minutes or so, it felt more like something I had to do for this show.
I understand what
that
you're saying.
we had
Yeah.
to, you know, it was a chore.
It was an
more than
assignment.
It was an assignment.
I know.
It was homework.
Which
I
we do
had
a
to do
lot.
my homework, which we often have to do.
Yeah.
Even though there's only 2 or 3 of you out there watching us, we do feel an obligation. This is our 96th show, for God's sake. So we do feel a little bit of an obligation.
We do take it seriously.
We take it seriously. Plus, we love movies.
Of course.
And that's
we
why
wouldn't
we're
do it
here.
if we didn't.
We wouldn't be
This
here.
isn't algebra banter. We're not talking about
We're not
equations
talking
here.
about placenta banter. I know that's
Exactly.
disgusting. But
Maybe there's
we're
a
not-
placenta banter show by a
I'm
bunch of
sure there is.
obstetricians.
I would hope there would
Out
be.
in Costa Rica,
Maybe
you know?
some post-pregnant women who are
Could
going
be.
through some kind of post-mortem depression are talking about, you know, and there was a wonderful actress back in the 60s. Her name was Placenta Berger. I don't know if you
Is that
recall.
real?
Actually, her name was Senta Berger.
Oh.
But somebody I know called her Placenta
funny.
Berger. I couldn't get it out of my mind for the rest of my life.
But I recommend you see this movie. If you have
this
HBO,
film.
check it out.
It's easy. It's on HBO Go. It's on
And
HBO on
it's
demand.
a quick watch. It's
It
like
is.
an hour and 40. It's not long.
It is an hour 40,
It's
but
good.
and it's good, and he does the voice down so perfectly.
Yeah.
He really does the voice.
He does.
And I think he really captures the person of
The essence,
Hervé.
I agree.
He really does,
Yeah.
and I love the sadness. There's a sadness that prevails about little people. I remember Billy
Barty.
Billy Barty, who of
Yes.
course was in The Wizard of Oz,
Yeah.
and went on to
I
Hollywood.
believe that he's portrayed in this film too.
He is,
because he was
actually.
the head of one of their
And
associations.
The actor who plays him obviously was a little person, but they put very bad plasticky makeup on him to
Yeah.
make him look like Billy Barty. But Billy was a very famous man and very well respected human being and,
He was.
and most beloved. Most little people are beloved
Of
in
course.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
I think they get a bad. I think the little people get a little bit of a bad name on some of those reality shows. You know.
Well, so a lot of
some
shows
of those
do
are-
put them as like the brunt of a joke.
They do indeed.
But
No, not the brunt of a joke.
some of them do. Some
but
take
they're having
advantage.
families and so forth, and sometimes.
But they
they're-
exploit them, like the
They
little
do.
people in the
Well,
I know the shows you're talking
But
about.
they're reality shows based
Yeah.
on their actual lives, so
I know.
they can't really exploit them so much because we're just showing them doing what they do.
They
in
are,
life.
but I just feel like the way that the shows are advertised.
Well, sometimes I feel
they
that they're
are making subtle. Hey, come see this sensationalist thing.
True.
They're
There is
living
a-
the same life that you and I are.
No.
They just have a different stature.
There
you
is
know?
definitely a P.T. Barnum aspect
Well, that's
to
what I'm
those
talking
shows.
about, yeah.
You know, come see the freaks and see, you know, how different are they from you
Which
and
is
me.
why
Maybe they're not, maybe they are.
He's
but
made such a important
contribution
to the
to the acting world.
Yeah,
is
and he's
Mr.
made an effort to not,
Peter.
especially early on in his career, to not get stuck into those pigeonholes that previous people, you know, just playing elves or playing Ewok, those kind of things.
Well-
he deliberately made a path to not do those kind of roles early on in his
Absolutely.
career to make that line in the sand.
True, and you made a good point there. Inadvertently, little did you know. Peter also plays films that he literally does not play little people in his films. He happens to be a little person.
Exactly, yeah,
now,
you're right.
in Three Billboards, though,
Yeah.
he does play a little person
Well, he doesn't have-
who is conscious of his littleness,
Yes.
who wants to date Frances McDormand,
Exactly.
and sees her blow up the we talked about that,
Yes,
I think,
yes, we
just
did, yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But regardless, he's wonderful. I can't say enough about
He'll
Mr.
be
Peter
nominated for an
Dinklage.
Emmy, most likely.
I don't know about
I
that.
think he will.
If there's only 5 nominations, I don't know if he'll make it.
He'll make
Jamie certainly won't. I don't think he
I
will.
think he will.
He might.
An actor
In a dramatic
playing
role,
a famous
in a dramatic
person,
movie
I
type
think
role.
so.
Could be.
Because he'll probably be
I do
nominated.
love- yeah.
Well, yeah, because it'll be a different year than the Game of Thrones, because that'll be next year.
Correct.
So he'll most likely.
Well, yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
By the time he gets an Emmy nomination for this,
Yeah.
we will have already seen the next season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and now they just cast the prequel to Game of Thrones today, starring Naomi Watts.
I didn't hear that.
Yes,
Wow.
Naomi's going to be in the prequel. They're doing a whole prequel.
Well, I know
to
they
Game of
are.
Thrones.
It takes place, I think, 1,000 years before everything we've seen
Is that
already.
also going to be a George R.
Yeah,
Martin?
exactly.
Is it?
Probably.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know.
That's
But,
interesting.
Yeah, Naomi's going to be in it. So,
Great.
and she's not she ain't Mulholland Drive anymore. She's
Yeah.
an older lady, so maybe she's
Yeah.
playing a queen or
Most
something. Who
likely.
knows?
That's
But
cool, though.
I shouldn't say she's.
Well,
an
she's
older
the first
lady.
big name of many, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
That's
sure
going to
so,
be
too.
populated with a lot of
Yeah.
good people.
Interesting.
That's exciting news. I
Yeah,
didn't
it
know
is
that.
exciting.
I didn't
news.
see that.
Read it today.
All right. Anyway,
I love this film.
Recommend it. Check
do.
it out.
I love this movie.
I liked it a lot too.
I really did. The ending got to me. I there were little tears in my head here, and I felt moved by. I was moved by not so much these not so much these performances,
Yes.
but the actual story.
Yeah, of course. It was a great story. I
when
enjoyed
they
it.
show him at the end there, and he's got the little white tufts of hair
Yeah.
on the side, and you see that little squint. He's like a little Filipino man or whatever he was.
Well, he was actually French.
Was he French?
Yeah, he was not. He wasn't
Villages?
Asian. He wasn't.
You sure he wasn't of a Spanish?
No, because he gets the name from I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the man that is I believe the father that raised him was not necessarily his birth father, and that's why the name is different.
Oh, I see.
He's not
But he's
necessarily
definitely
by heritage.
I would say not necessarily Malaysian, but he has a Filipino kind of look to him for me. That semi.
Maybe, but from what I understand, he wasn't.
Indo-knee kind of
Maybe
thing.
somebody in his bloodline
Yeah, there
was,
must
because that
be.
can still get in there. you know?
Absolutely.
But anyway, we recommend regardless.
All right.
It's a good film.
It really is.
Now we're
It's
going to
worth
move on
checking
to a film that is really insane. It made a huge impact on me.
Yeah.
The Night Comes For Us is a Indonesian film, the first film produced by Netflix in Indonesia.
Yeah.
This is one of the most violent films I've seen in a while.
True.
It's got exceptional action choreography.
Absolutely.
There's some brutal deaths. Great
Brutal is not the
prosthetic
word.
prosthetic makeup effects.
Yeah.
It's just a very well done action film that I can't recommend highly enough. It's a
it's-
revenge film.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not for everybody.
No, it's very, very violent.
It's extremely violent. I believe.
But however, I for a while was thinking to myself, because you told me not to give anything away when you were watching it, but you said
I know.
you said this movie is so violent. Oh my God! I expected it to be like crazy. Then we got toward the ending. Then I saw some really violent deaths. Because
Yeah.
for a while I'm like, all right, it's violent.
Well,
but
I do have a
expected little
tendency
more.
to,
Yeah.
I overblow things, so I can't. You can't. The film can't possibly
live up to that. Yeah.
expectations.
But
I
believe
was
me,
sitting
this
here-
film was harrowing.
It
I
really
loved
is
it.
harrowing. I love it.
Really
too.
well done.
Beautifully
Yeah.
done. This
Great.
particular guy now is everywhere.
Yeah, he was
He's
good.
in a brand new film. I just was in touch with it the other day. It's a new Bruce Willis film. It's called
Mm-hmm.
Air Cop or something like that. Brand new film. He's in that. He's also in another film, another Asian film on Netflix
Okay.
also. He has an interesting backstory. I don't know if you read it in
No, I didn't get a
IMDb.
chance, no.
Kind of interesting. He grew up in a family where his father ran like a taekwondo
School.
school
Okay.
of kung fungian
Yeah.
aspects where he became the star pupil. Being there every day.
Yeah.
Dad is a teacher. He learned he has a kind of a Bruce Lee. He looks very much like the guy that was in the On Back films.
Yeah.
He's got the
Yeah, that's Tony Jai. I
yeah,
believe.
he looks very similar to him.
Okay, yeah.
I think there's a definite resemblance. I could see this guy sitting on an elephant, riding through Manhattan.
I know what you're saying, yeah.
But I like this film. It's about the triad. It's about these guys.
This guy that wants to break out of the triad.
He wants to get away from this
By saving this young girl.
mafioso thing that he's in. There's a young girl. She's about to be murdered.
And he saves her.
Can't bring himself to kill her.
Exactly.
But I like the way they cut away. You hear the gunfire.
Yeah,
at
but
the
you don't
beginning.
see- yeah.
You don't know what happened. But then we see the little girl moments later.
Yeah.
So now you're going, well, what was that gunfire?
And then we get flashbacks.
We get flashbacks going on. I like this film a lot. I
Me
like
too.
the characters.
Me
This
too.
particular girl right here.
She was good.
Frightening.
Violent.
Frightening. And then we had her, of
Yeah.
course, who, and she had that thing with the little, the little bolo.
Yeah.
She puts it around the guy's hand.
It was like, with the
Just
real
cuts
thin,
right through.
like the stuff you use in to separate clay in art class.
There you
That's
go.
like that
Yeah,
wire.
It's like
yeah.
a sliding razor wire.
Yeah, cut your throat.
And
Brutal.
she wraps it around your hand, and it seems to tighten There was a film like this. There was a film where they put something on somebody's neck, and they had that.
They've used that in many films.
Yeah, they have, but I do recall it in a specific film where they would put this thing
I
on
know.
somebody's neck or whatever, and then they tighten it.
I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
and I can't remember.
It was
what
almost
film
like an
that
electronic thing.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't remember now.
And it was a biggie too.
Yeah.
It might have been a James Bond film even.
I don't think it was that because it wouldn't have been that violent.
Yeah, but
It was something brutal.
It was something.
It'll
brutal.
come to us.
It possibly so.
It'll come for us.
There you go.
But this movie, I recommend it highly on Netflix.
Yeah, it really was very well
Again,
done.
one of the. Lately, we've been getting. Well, not lately. The past few weeks, I've watched some films on Netflix that are better than anything they've done so far
Yeah.
in terms of films.
True.
This is one of the better
Well,
ones.
I don't know if this is an actual Netflix.
It is. No, I read
Oh,
it. This is produced by Netflix
okay.
in Indonesia.
Interesting.
It's very
Ah,
good.
very good, very
I
good.
really enjoyed it.
I did too.
The makers of the Raid movies produced
Love
this.
those Raid
Those
films.
are great.
Oh, those are amazing.
And this is the star of the Raid films.
1, the Raid 2.
That's
yeah,
the star. Yeah, he's just
fantastic.
clean shaven in that. He's a big star over there.
Big star.
I
and
just-
he is now becoming a
He
huge star.
is,
And he's
yeah.
hitting the American circuit now, as I
He
say.
is. Yeah, a lot of these
Quite
guys are.
amazing. But
But I recommend this movie.
it's
Check
a brutal
it out.
film.
It's awesome.
you know, there is a possibility there could be a sequel. I hope so.
Be kind of interesting.
The ending is a little ambiguous there, so you know we see kind of
Well, we see
Butch
something-
Cassidy and
yeah,
the Sundance
yeah.
jumping off the freeze frame.
We see something, yeah.
fade to black. But I really I really love this film. I
Me
got to
too.
tell you something. I've seen this film now 3 times.
You showed Eric.
3 times.
Did he like it?
I watched it. Had my friend Jason came over.
Oh, Jason, you showed it to.
I showed it to him, but we only watched about half of it,
Okay.
maybe 2/3. Then I stopped. Then my friend Eric came over, and I wanted him to see the whole thing. So this is all in the course of about 2 weeks. I saw it myself, and of course I was texting you the whole thing. Oh my God, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Oh my God, I remember texting you through this film, and just being so outrageously blown away. I think I had possibly herbed myself.
I think you
into
did.
a specific frame of mind that might have made me.
I think you bought some very special oregano that
I
day.
think that might have been it. It
Yeah.
could have been some kind of
But did Eric like it?
oil or something I had perhaps,
Yeah.
you know.
I understand.
Some
They get it.
Owsley
Yes.
acid that I had.
Did
placed
Eric like
upon
it,
my
though? I
tongue.
need to know.
Oh, he loved it.
Good.
He loved the
Good.
film. It's really quite.
It's a
I'll tell you
pretty
this,
astounding movie.
After you watch it 3 times, you start to see. It's called a gag. You know, that's what George Romero always
Yes.
called each bit that somebody is being decapitated
Yes,
or whatever.
yes.
My favorite in Dawn of the Dead is when there's one particular zombie I don't know, still don't know how they did it, and I think it was explained. But one particular zombie is, he walks up into a helicopter blade.
Oh, yeah.
And literally gets the top of his head shaved off, and we see, and he's going, in that typical zombie. That is a hilarious film. By the way,
I love that film.
Yeah, there was a guy in there who I always said looked exactly like your dad.
Oh, you've told me that
Yeah,
before.
there's one guy, and he was one of the main SWAT team
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
They just today on TMZ had a Where Is He Now? And
Oh.
they showed that guy. He got bit and is turned into a zombie in
Yeah,
Dawn of the Dead.
yeah.
And they show what he looks like now, and he looks nothing like your dad.
That's funny.
But he did look like your dad quite a bit in that
Interesting.
film.
That's
And I always
interesting.
pointed that out, I do recall, just a little brief moment between Chris and I.
Yes, we did have a nice
But
moment.
this is really a great
It's
movie.
a great movie.
It's well made,
I
it's
recommend
well
it.
acted.
It's great. All around, it's
There's
great.
a story.
Nice synth score.
The story is a little, indeed, as I pointed out to you while I was watching.
While you were watching it.
But there's just I just lost my my caboose of thought there where I was going. But there was
You're saying the story, something about the story.
the story is a little bit, correct. The story is a little bit. I thought it was a little vague at times.
Well, it's
It
also
doesn't
a pretty
always-
standard, revenge / I want to leave the mob movie.
Well, the problem
getting
is this.
chased by people that don't want him to leave.
We see so many people kind of come into play here that we don't know who's the bad guy.
Well,
and who's the good
you
guy.
learn as a story
You just
goes
got to
on.
learn who's fighting who.
Exactly.
Obviously, they're against each other. There's
Yeah.
a team here. This particular girl here ends up fighting. These two are a pair. They're together.
Yeah.
And they end
In
up
more
doing
ways than one.
battle with her.
Yeah.
It's
just a cool film.
It's a cool film.
I loved it.
But it's over the top violence. If it's not your cup of tea,
Very.
stay away
Yeah.
because it's a
It's
very
brutal.
potent cup of tea. Let
It
me
is.
tell you. Let us move on. Sir.
Yeah, but it's a great film. Highly recommend it on
Dynamite.
Netflix.
Dynamite stuff.
Okay, now,
Here we go.
here's a film that's the polar opposite of what we just reviewed.
Well, it's a
In
different
terms of
film
tone,
altogether.
yeah.
It's a different film.
This is a very, I don't want to say small movie, but it's a drama about a family, about a husband and wife who've been together for years.
I wouldn't call this a small film.
Well, in terms of the scope, it's smaller than The Night Comes for Us.
Well,
It's a drama.
It's
The
a
story
focused,
is
it's a focused
on a
drama.
family.
It's a
Yeah.
focused family drama.
They're a married couple. He's a writer, very prolific, who's had a big, long career, famous. Right in the beginning of the film, we find out that he's won the Pulitzer for literature.
In present day. This is present day.
Present day.
We
Glenn
meet
Close,
there. We meet
Jonathan
their meeting.
Price.
Where she's in college and.
Yeah. Well, there's flashbacks to how they met in college.
Exactly.
He was a professor.
We have the metamorphosis of
Yes.
and ladies and gentlemen, I have a metamorphosis I didn't like.
Exactly. And then the whole film, for the most from there, takes place. They go to receive the award in. Is it Helsinki?
No, it's Stockholm.
Stockholm.
It's
Sweden.
the Nobel Prize.
Yeah, they go in Sweden. Yes.
For the Pulitzer.
Yes, they go over there, and it's all about the inner workings.
It's not for Pulitzer. It's the Nobel Prize for
Nobel.
It's
What
the
did I
Nobel
say?
Prize.
Did we
for,
say Pulitzer or Nobel?
Well, we said
Nobel,
Pulitzer.
right?
It's the Nobel Prize
For literature. Correct. Nobel. If we
Yeah.
said Pulitzer, we apologize.
Yeah.
They go over there, and it's all about the inner workings of how the whole thing is going to work. Okay, sir, you do this, you do that. They
Correct.
explain the whole thing, and then we're there with them for, I guess, an extended weekend. Their
are
son comes
indeed.
along, who's an aspiring writer, played by
you're getting
Max.
off the
Well, no,
track
he's
here.
a big part of the story.
Well, I don't think so.
Max Irons, that's Jeremy Irons' son.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
we saw him recently in Terminal with Margot Robbie.
Oh, okay.
Not a
Interesting.
great film. But the whole crux of the film is their relationship and how they deal with past demons in their marriage. A big thread is his previous infidelity.
True.
You know?
Well,
And there's other things. I don't want to give anything away.
There's a secret.
Yeah.
There's a secret.
But we're not going to give it away.
And it's about, this film is basically about the man in the spotlight and the woman who stands behind him.
Exactly.
And sometimes the woman who stands behind him may have an alternate purpose in that life. And it's a great drama
Yes.
between Jonathan Price, who we don't see enough of.
No, he's great.
On film, the man is dynamite.
I think they're both
So good.
exceptional in this film.
Helen Mirren's ex-husband, by the way.
Yeah, that I didn't know.
Helen Mirren was married to
Interesting.
him for a long
Wow.
time, like 20 years.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
And I'll tell you, Glenn is
Excellent.
Excellent in this.
I think-
I've never seen Glenn Close give a bad performance.
No, me neither. I think
You know.
they're both in the running, could possibly get nominations.
I think he'll
I'd
definitely.
love to see him get one.
I'd like to see
I
him
love him.
win, for
He was
God's sake.
great.
I thought he was awesome.
Excellent.
He blew me
I
away.
gotta tell you, I started-
as much as she did.
I agree.
Yeah.
I started watching this movie at like 11:30. I couldn't turn it off. I
I
was
gotcha.
mesmerized. I
Okay.
loved this
I
movie.
did too. I thought it was wonderful.
I can't recommend The Wife. It should be available online now
You
to
just
watch.
said you can't recommend The Wife.
No, I
you
said
meant to say you
no.
can't
I said I
recommend it
can't recommend it
enough.
highly enough.
Yeah, you didn't say that though. You said I can't recommend The Wife because blah blah blah, and then you didn't say highly enough. But
No,
I'm
whatever.
filling it
I
in
feel
because
maybe you interrupted me.
you're making a clear note.
But it's
no,
great.
I didn't interrupt.
I
you.
love this film.
It's
I
wonderful.
got sucked into it.
It's great.
It's
It's
excellent.
a full arc of
I
storiness.
just loved it.
It takes you from a
Yeah.
simple,
It's great.
a simple beginning
Yeah.
to kind of a horrific end, if you will.
A little bit.
It goes into,
But it's
a full
fantastic.
story of a husband and wife.
Yeah.
In the spotlight, and what that all entails, and everything is not as it seems, and that's the beauty of it.
It's just so well acted. It's an interesting
I love
story.
Jonathan in
he was
this
great.
film.
I gotta say, I agree. I think he stood out for me a little
Me
bit more.
too.
Because
Me
she's
too.
always excellent.
Well, you know, we
and
know
we don't
Glenn,
always get to see him.
You know, and before Lady Gaga came along, I think she probably was.
The one to beat. I
Yeah,
agree 100%.
She's never won a Best Actress. She's only won for
Best
Best Supporting,
Supporting.
and that was in her very first film, The World According
Or in
to
the Gar.
Gar.
Yeah.
A wonderful performance by
agree.
her. I don't know how she won that. She was unknown at the time. She played a nurse, and she played a. You know, it's very strange. The Academy loves to give somebody an Oscar for their first performance or as a career-spanning performance.
It's true.
You know, and that's kind of where we go.
Yeah.
And here we see, you know, and Glenn. You know, I love his smile and her serious look.
I know.
Because that's pretty much how their characters are throughout the film, in a sense. I even like the people who played them as young people.
That was pretty good.
I thought the guy specifically, when they're like jumping on the bed,
Yeah, that
he's
was kinda
going
cool, yeah.
crazy. I
Yeah.
thought that was quite fun.
It was interesting. I liked
I
it.
really did. This film has some passion to it. It's well written. It's well done.
It's just one of those
Has some
little
girth to it.
sleeper gems that a lot of people might not want to see. They might not know anything about it. The wife, it's an important.
It sounds like a stodgy old.
It does. It sounds like something, Merchant Ivory or something.
Well, not quite Merchant Ivory, but it just sounds something that's going to be.
I know.
Wife. It's boring. It's a couple movie.
It's not though.
It's a
so
performance
good.
film, and it is. It is all those things.
It is.
But
it's a good one.
Takes it to a better level.
It does.
It really outreaches its low reach that it might have gone for. It just goes way. It just hits it out of the park for me.
I really enjoyed it.
I loved it too.
More than I ever thought I would. Not that I had any preconceptions. I just was sucked into it. I remember thinking to myself, I can't believe how much I'm into this movie. It just got me.
Well,
it just brought me
absolutely
in.
true.
I loved
absolutely
it.
true.
Can't recommend it highly enough.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
It really does catch you by surprise.
It does.
I found, very often when we see films, we have to evaluate. Is this movie stuff we're watching, or I want to make this clear. Is this a movie about? Is this a movie that's directors like David Lynch, for example, who and Steven Spielberg, directors who manipulate us and bring us through a path to the end result, and sometimes I feel that the truth of life is not represented on film. It's made more dramatic for the sake of entertainment.
I know what you're saying.
So that we as an audience have something we don't want to watch.
Yeah.
As Alfred Hitchcock said, films are rather dull without, he always said foreign films are real life with the dull bits left in.
Yeah.
And and sometimes I felt towards the end of the film, for example, I felt that I was seeing something that was made for a movie. I know we're running late, but it was a movie that was made to manipulate. It was a movie that was made to bring me down a path that I not necessarily would see in a real life scenario. But that's why a movie is a movie, and maybe I'm not being clear on that, but I love this film.
Me too.
Regardless, I keep going back to that thought. I truly did. I really enjoyed it.
It's one of the better ones I've seen in a while.
Even though the film takes us to a place where I felt was almost for dramatic effect, I still feel that dramatic effect was worth it in every respect. So, sometimes a movie, I don't like to be so duped by movie life.
Yeah.
Taken away from real life. This does take away from real life. I mean, things happen in this film that I don't think are generally true. Maybe they are, though. I mean, it's possible. So I'm getting off the track.
Anything's
here.
possible.
It is indeed.
We love the film.
It really is a great movie. Jonathan is wonderful.
He's great.
Wonderful.
He's really great. I really hope I see a nomination for him.
I do too.
If I had to choose between only one of them, I want him.
Me too.
I'd love to see him
the way
nominated.
he was so torn.
Yeah.
He was so torn. He has women that are, he's a famous writer that want to be seduced by him. Young, beautiful women that want to be seduced by him. And his whole handling of her, it was real.
It felt.
He's more of a stage actor in England than anything.
I know, yeah.
And he used to do films all the time. He
was
in Brazil.
He's in Brazil.
Actor.
I remember from Glenn Ross.
There you go.
He's in Game of Thrones. I mean, remember he was in Game of Thrones.
Right.
High Sparrow.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, we loved it. We loved Jonathan Pryce.
I'm sorry I meandered there.
It's okay.
But let's move on.
But that's it. That's our show. With the until we do our little horror thing. But that's the 5 new movies that we're going to be covering.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, just 5, and then we're going to do our horror thing.
All right, let's do our horror thing.
We're going to do our horror thing.
So we'll be
right back. We'll be back in a second.
There you go. Well, for you, less than a second.
Yeah, less than a second.
I know. Okay.
All right.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're now going to do our favorite horror films. It is Halloween, for God's sakes.
That is a fact.
And for Satan's sake. So, we would like to present you with some of our favorite horror film, our favorite horror film. Plus, we'd like to go into some of the franchises that have been around through the incredible world of cinema as associated with the horror genre.
Some will be good franchises, some will be absolutely terrible, but regardless, they've had an impact on the horror world.
You shall decide.
Some of them have been big blockbusters.
You people shall decide. You've got to decide something sometime.
That is true.
I hope next Tuesday you have the ability to decide what's going to happen in this world, this country we live.
Well, that is true. Next Tuesday is a very important
That
day.
shall really be the horror show.
The 6th of November. But let us move on. So, my favorite horror film is right here, The Exorcist. What can I say? It's a wonderful movie. It is a landmark film. It was a blockbuster film. It was a horrifying film that shocked audiences. People had never seen anything like that before. I loved it. It was excellent. The craftsmanship of making this film was amazing. If you watch the behind the scenes of how they did it, a lot of the crew was freaked out by some of the techniques
Many
used.
people died.
They did. It was
Actually, only
insane.
2 or 3 died during the making of the film.
It was very shocking.
It was shocking.
It very was. I highly recommend if you haven't seen The Exorcist. I don't even need to get into it. You know what it is.
You
Innately,
don't
you know
want
what
to
it
get
is.
into it, or you're rushed for time.
I'm rushed for time. I gotta be
You gotta
somewhere.
get out and smoke that weed with your buddies.
I actually have to evict somebody. Actually,
All right, there you go.
I gotta run somewhere.
I think you need to evict yourself.
I gotta
from
go to
this
the ghetto.
scenario.
I gotta go to the ghetto because I am the slumlord after all.
In the ghetto.
You have a lovely singing voice.
A little Elvis for you there.
I know. But anyway, I do love The
The
Exorcist.
slumlord
Uh,
will leave the building.
Wonderful film.
It
I
really
really
is a
enjoyed
wonderful film. More so created. In fact, I don't think she's given enough credit over the years. Miss Linda Blair.
I know. Yeah, unfortunately, her career peaked early.
Well, you know, she did go on to do a few extra things, but
A few
nothing
other
of
things,
any
but
great.
nothing like that.
Nothing of any great notation.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately for her, I did see her at one of those silly creature feature shows, chiller theater shows.
Yeah, she's been there before.
I was trying to take her photo, and she was very upset and kept. And I had a really nice telephoto lens,
Ah.
so I was sitting further back. I was trying to take a photo, and she kept putting her hand up.
Was it
so
because
that
she
I
wanted
could
you to
not get
pay?
it. But of course, she couldn't sign autographs and hold her hand up at the same time and
Uh-huh.
talk to the people who were.
So you were
online
trying to get a
speak
free
her.
photo without paying, huh?
I know. She was
You're
very
a
upsetting,
freeloader.
and she hated the fact that I just simply wanted to take a picture.
Well, I guess I
without
don't blame her.
paying for it. It was all about the money, the cash. That's why she was there. She's a cash cow.
It is the only reason they are there, my friend.
Such a.
Maybe one day you'll be doing a convention.
Let's move on to my favorite film.
Why don't we?
Everyone knows this film.
Everybody knows. It was another
It's a great
blockbuster.
film whatsoever, no question about it. And
A
horrifying.
blockbuster here, Mr. M. Night Shyamalan's The
Can you
Sixth
give me some
Sense.
money? Father, I'm an altar boy. There's great moments in this film.
It's an excellent film.
Ladies and gentlemen, the M. Night Shyamalan film of any worth. Here it is, The Sixth Sense. Mr. Bruce Willis, I love the woman who plays his wife in this film. Her name is,
Tony Collette.
she's wonderful.
No.
not
Tony Collette is the boy's mother.
Tony, who plays his wife?
His wife is. Hang on, it'll come to me in a moment. Let me get the information from
Well, it
my
doesn't
brain.
matter.
It'll come to me. Don't worry.
This is really a little boy's film. This is a horror
Haley
film
Joel
of great
Osment.
proportion. There is incredible horror throughout. This is about 6 horror films for the price of 1. We have so many little stories that our little Chubette boy, our little cherubic angel, what is his name? God.
I just said it. Haley Joel Osment.
There you go, little Haley Joel, who is now turned into a rather cherubic older man. Not
He's a
older man.
bearded, chubby man now.
He's still a young man, but he is on the cherubic side. One must confess.
But I think it works for him.
Well, you know, I think he's good. He was. He
I like him. He's still very
We
good.
saw him in. He was in that film by Kevin Smith.
He was in Tusk.
Correct.
He was
Yeah.
in Tusk, indeed.
He was in Tusk. He's in a lot of little films.
He is. He does a lot
seems
of
to
different
be-
things.
Yeah.
He's done TV as well. He was on Silicon Valley recently on HBO.
There you go.
Check out Silicon Valley.
Well,
Good
he's,
show.
he's getting around. He really did. He was really wonderful in this film, however. No question about it. The Sixth Sense is, I think, one of the best horror films around. I really do. It's a frightening film, and yet at the same time, it's got a wonderful shock ending.
I will say, without that shock ending, the film wouldn't have had its impact. For me, at least.
Very much so. That's very true.
Blew me away,
Yeah.
to be frank.
I wish I could blow you away. I wish I had a shotgun right now. But
I don't appreciate the sentiment.
well, thank you, sir. But you know, why don't you give me a little kiss? Because I think my pins will stick into your head.
I'm gonna pass, my friend.
But there you go. So anyway, yeah, I love this film. I really do. I think Bruce is great in it. His first film with M. Night.
It was.
It's really a great one. All right, let's move on.
We're gonna move on. So we are going to do now
Our show is already an hour long, so we've
We're
got to
going
rush
to do
it
some
here, you
film
see.
franchise, but we're going to be speeding through them.
We don't want to
Because
bore
you know all these
but At the
films.
same time, you know, Chris has to move. He's got to get out of here.
Okay, ready?
He's got places
Plus,
to go.
nobody
He's got
wants to
weed
watch a
smoke.
2-hour episode
He's
of
got
Film
friends
Banter.
to see. He's
You
got
don't want to
real
watch a
friends
2-hour
that he
episode of
loves,
this
real
show, do
friends that
you?
he
No,
knows.
you don't. They don't want to see a 2-hour show.
Exactly.
So I just want to mention that this was the first big horror film that came out in 1922. The
You got
first.
the band's name?
Road. Yeah, we're going down. Yeah, Mr.